Well, Iraq is halfway through resolving the crisis and halfway through reigniting crisis. It's somewhere in the purgatory. It's neither in hell nor in heaven. Well, the sectarian conflict is actually a real conflict about resources. And by resources, I mean political power, economic resources, cultural resources, material and symbolic. It's the real thing. This is the real thing. And the main cause, the major cause, I think, is the failure of nation building on the basis of pluralistic societies. How to govern diversity. Governing diversity is the basic lesson that we should learn in order to go beyond this. A federal state involves, distribution of resources, distribution of political power, inclusion and participation in decision making and policy making, and these processes are flawed. They are not even-handed, they are not fair, and they are not conceived as fair as well. Nation building is a total failure in the region because it does not take into consideration that the basics for governing diversity. Full stop.
We, as previously young scholars, benefited from. Secondly, his contribution to the study of Iraq, that great body of work that will outlive us all and has shaped how the world, and especially the world of academia, understands Iraq. And finally, and I think probably most importantly, his moral certainty, his honesty, that I think in troubled times in Iraq shone out as a man who took a stand for what he believed in and led by example. So he would never, at least in any meeting I'd been in, raise his voice, use slack language. He would forensically analyze the horror without being passionately wrapped up in it. He then published what I think will last as the great contribution to the study of Iraq, the Shiite movement in Iraq. I read it again this summer, and again I read it with huge respect, but also awe that he brought together this vast array of different sources, of interviews with a beautiful writing skill and detail. And you know when you read it that it comes from the academic study of Iraq. It's balanced in its judgment, and you actually don't know, and you shouldn't care, I suspect, what Faleh himself believed about religion, what religion he was. It's an act of scientific inquiry. And then the last book in English, The Kurds, Nationalism and Politics. And he went on after 2003 to form his own research institute, and it was...
Well, I've known Faleh over 3 decades and was always struck by his decency, honesty, great intellect and knowledge, and in addition, humor. I think it's very important to say that Faleh, serious as he was in all his studies and analysis, could also make jokes and very funny ones about the various situations which he was analyzing and the people he was encountering. I would also like to say that apart from Faleh's great contributions that Toby has elucidated, and I can only endorse what Toby has said, and there isn't really much to add to it, except to say that apart from his studies of Iraq and the analysis of Iraqi society, Faleh also had great intellectual ambitions in the more general field of social and political theory, and he made many contributions on Hegelian and Marxist philosophy, critiques, analysis, which were considerable in their own way. And it's, I think, in one of the last things that he did was to finish or to edit a translation of Karl Marx's Capital in Arabic, as well as writing a short book on the concept of alienation in Hegel and Marx and so on. And I think these are also great contributions, especially both in English and in Arabic, but especially in Arabic, for the enlightenment that is now much needed in the Arab public sphere in those dark days.
Me voy a ir. Mi papá se fue. Todo se olvidó. ¡Falaya! ¡Venga! ¡Vamos! ¡No me dejes solo!
Marhaba, ismi Ishtar Yasin Gutierrez. I am actress and filmmaker and writer. My father, Mohsen Sadun Yasin, was a theater director from Iraq. My mother, Elena Gutierrez, she is a choreographer from Chile and Costa Rica. We always dreamed with my father to go to Iraq, but because of the political situation and the war, we couldn't go. I still dream to go to Iraq, my country.